Hi, my name is Sallay-Carrington, and I'm a ceramic sculptor who created this Trans Passions series with the help of all the people involved. I just completed a one-year residency at Baltimore Clay Works, and as a trans, non-binary, queer ceramic sculptor, I've been using sculpture as a way to kind of figure these things out about myself for many, many years. And when I figured out I was trans, it was a long, complicated journey, as many people's are. I wanted to create a project which kind of reached out to several other trans and non-binary and two-spirit people and hear about their experiences. And then also thinking about the fact that trans people are more than just their gender identity. I wanted to create a project which really focused on their passions, the things that really drive people and give them, purpose, direction, the things people really love doing with their lives. And so I did a call out on the internet, and I got 40 applicants, and it was really hard picking the 20. And so I had, writers, athletes, artists, all different kinds of singers, people in theater. I had so many different kinds of passions, and it was a really big challenge to sculpt everybody. And some of them are really difficult, some of them were a bit more straightforward, but it was absolutely incredible getting to hear all these different stories, because with each sculpture, I interviewed everybody. And so you'll see hanging next to each sculpture is a little audio device with headset. And so you'll get to listen to each of those people talk about their passions and their experiences being trans. And it was such an incredible experience getting to talk to everybody. Many of these people I've never met before. They're just people who applied online, some of which I've known from, from my time living in Vancouver or Montreal or Seattle. And so it's been a really incredible experience to get to talk to everyone. I'm going to talk about a couple of the pieces while I'm here. This is a potter and a Chinese-American potter who is named Steven, and they help run an online organization of, or an online community of Asian trans people. And so building their piece, I wanted to incorporate, they're a potter, they're a production potter by trade, and also they have their own practice, which is why it's on the piece. And then I got Steven to send me a whole bunch of photos of their friends, and so on there is drawn several of their friends, and everyone sent me what animal they would be. And so I chose an elephant for Steven because of their matriarchal society, and the fact that their herds are super important. You never see an elephant alone. And so Steven's passions being community as well as pottery, I wanted to bring those together in one shape. And so getting to speak, I got to speak with a couple of these people and talk to Steven. And so that's been, super cool thing to get to talk to everybody and to get to hear everyone's different experiences. Some people figure out they're trans at a super young age, and some people figure it out when they're older. And so everyone has such a different journey to go on. And so it's always absolutely incredible. This piece over here is Max, and they're a tattoo artist and have a passion for swimming as well as snakes. They just really love snakes. And so getting to do, really focusing on their tattoo practice, I did all their tattoos on there. And then because they have a passion for, being in water and swimming, I wanted to do a vessel, so they were, you can incorporate water into the piece. And same thing over here. This piece is based on Alumium, who is an artist as well as has a passion for their community. They love documenting their community, doing just everyday things, and it really makes those little moments special, those moments that you don't really realize are really powerful community moments until, years later you're thinking back onto what moments are really special with your friends, and they're always really mundane little things, or sometimes they are. And so they really like documenting those moments. And so on here as well, I got to speak to a couple of their friends, and draw some of their friends on there. And also they describe themselves as genderful, which I absolutely love. And so having many different characteristics, like gendered characteristics, as well as, which is why they're a jackalope, so having antlers as well as being a rabbit. And so there's, actually on the back of this piece is a camera, so you can see the documenting kind of aspect of it. So this piece is based on VU. And they have a passion for soccer as well as making music, and so getting to hear about their experiences of joining soccer teams and what that was like coming out as trans, and then some stories about how they really got into music. They shared with me stories about their grandfather and how he sang everywhere he went, and that really got them into singing and just thinking of everything as music, and just having music such a part of their day. And so with lots of these pieces, I started using gold luster on top surgery scars, and sort of thinking of the kensuke, the style of celebrating those scars and making them gold and beautiful. And this piece is based on Dee Dangaran. They're a lawyer out of DC, and they have a project which focuses on making sure trans people in prison have access to their rights. And so talking to Dee was really incredible, because I don't know a ton about the legal system, and I imagine it's extra complicated being in there as a trans person, because many people are in the wrong prison. And so I cried during so many of these interviews, and actually I teared up a lot during Dee's. They shared with me a story where they were able to get someone who was behind bars access to top surgery, and they were sharing with me that it was, they have a passion for helping people, and especially in situations like this where people, they really do need help, and when you have, so little money and little access to your rights and you're in prison, that's such a the most challenging place to be, and there's so much, for a legal system that's just, obviously really not fair, and there's lots of people who, shouldn't be behind bars. And so getting to talk to Dee and about their, this passion of theirs in this project, and just how challenging it is to, do this job. And so this piece, actually, in the statement they sent me, it's, they had this little quote not quote, but they had a saying at the bottom that just said, "I'm here to help people, not to make money." And so that was such an impactful thing, getting to talk to them, because this job it's more than a job. It's a passion. They love helping people, and I can imagine it's so just draining, because you need to work so hard. And they actually told me when I asked if they have any of those moments that make them really feel like, yes, this is why I do this job, like kind of rewarding in that way. And when they said most of the people they work with are already behind bars, so it's really hard to get those moments. And that's when they told me the story about getting someone top surgery, because that was a win. This person was already behind bars, but that was still a win. And so that was a really meaningful conversation with them, and learning about their passions. And they're also really into tarot, which is where the references to the temperance card comes from. And many of these pieces were, very moving, and I learned so much from getting to talk to all of these people. So this piece is based on Lily. She's a trans woman based in America, and she has a passion for creating safe spaces, mostly online, but then also doing a lot of online content of, information about transness, and creating community for people, and making sure people know that there's community out there for you. In so many ways. And it's, if you're ever feeling alone and isolated because you're in a small town or somewhere where you don't have a lot of trans people around, or you're feeling like it's really hard to find community, then she's been creating these online spaces. So even if you're physically very distant from people, you can still find connection. And so this piece, because she has a passion for safe spaces, I wanted to create a nice little pride and trans flag umbrella, and under protection from the rain, and an arm open for a hug, so she's ready for an embrace, and a really protective dog. Rottweilers are kind of known for being very protective. And so wanting to create this feeling of safe spaces. And yeah, the conversation with Lily was really incredible. I also cried during this one. Getting to talk to everyone and learning about all the different experiences of being trans was really eye-opening. This piece is based on Judith. She's a woodworker and raises goats. And so she was sharing with me stories of the complicated journeys of raising a family when you're trans. It is, it's not as straightforward, and it's very complicated, and family dynamics can look very different. I mean, they can look different for everyone, but it just kind of adds a different layer of complications. And so yeah, getting to talk to her was really wonderful. She also shared with me some stories of, she grew up in, I think she was a teenager in the 90s, and so she knew she was trans from a very young age, but I guess kept that hidden inside for a very long time and didn't come out until much later in life. But sharing with me the story of when she was a teenager, she found this little book box on the side of the street that, this is well before internet or the accessible internet. And so she found this little book box on the side of the road that had, I guess, some local trans person in this little Canadian town had written up a bunch of information about trans people and trans history. And so she says she found this little information box with all of this, just stories about transness. And she said it was the most just incredible and eye-opening thing from, not really necessarily having people to talk to about being trans, or maybe not even totally understanding what it means, because a lot of times we have these feelings, but we don't necessarily know what they mean, or how to really express them. I know I struggled with that a lot. And so, getting to hear from someone who grew up at a time before the internet, or, she's figuring out she's trans before access to the internet, was just a really incredible thing to hear, because, these days we just have the internet and we can learn, Google search anything and find online community. And so, that was a really amazing story to hear. And then this piece over there is based on Hippolyta. She is a model and a muse for a muse for artists, and also a botanist. And so wanting to do her kind of pop modeling in a sea of botanics. And she loves cheetahs, and so wanted to give her cheetah features. And being on a vessel, you sort of she kind of becomes a vessel for other people's art practice as she models and is a muse for projects. And she also shared with me that she knew she was trans at a very young age. With this project, I wanted to show that being trans is just one component of our complex lives. There's so many ways of that, such a diverse way of people living their lives and expressing their trans identity. So with this project, I really wanted to showcase trans joy and the fulfilling lives that trans people are living all over Canada and America. This project has been so transformative in both my understanding of trans identities as I'm learning more about my transness, and learning more about the greater trans communities and how varied they are everywhere and how different everyone's experiences are. This whole thing has been so eye-opening, and I've had people reaching out to me about continuing to model for these projects. So I'm going to have an ongoing call for models, and I'm going to be continuing building this project. After we take this show down on August 24th, I'm going to be installing it again in Vancouver, BC in November at the James Black Gallery. And I have another residency lined up in February, so I'm going to be continuing to create these pieces and hopefully travel more with this show and get to, just share these stories and, find out more ways to get to share these interviews. And it's very much a learning process, and I'm, finding out more ways to expand this project. And I'm really excited to get to sculpt more people and to hear more stories and to connect with these trans communities across, I'm on West Coast, or in West Coast Canada, and then, from East Coast America. So I'll be traveling around a lot. Thanks so much for watching and listening, and I hope you get to see the show in another city.